Well, I've got to be good tonight because I've got my boss here, and he's kind of a tough grader, so I'll be on my best behavior. Let me tell you guys about me, just to give you a little bit of background, because the beauty of my job, I think I have the best job in Knox County. No offense to the mayor, because I get to be the driving force on a lot of policy, a lot of agendas, and if things go good, the mayor looks great. If things don't go so good, the mayor's got to answer for it. I'll get a tongue lashing later, but it's his name that goes in the paper, and I take that extremely seriously. I am from Knoxville, went to Farragut High School, graduated in 2002. After Farragut, went to Carson Newman College, graduated in 2006 with 2 degrees. Worked for Bob Corker's first, not his actual first, his first Senate campaign was 94, but worked on his second campaign bid for the U.S. Senate from 05 to 06, worked for him for between 14 and 15 months, had a great time, got some good experience. Turned down an opportunity to go work for Bob on the Hill and went to work for a foreign policy lobby group. It's called the American Israel Public Affairs Committee, which that organization really delved deep into the U.S.-Israel relationship, not from a biblical perspective, but for foreign relations, military aid, military defense in the Middle Eastern part of this world. And I spent 2 years up there doing that, wanted to move higher in the organization, but unfortunately, the only way to do that was to get a master's degree. So I came back to Knoxville and got my first master's degree. I say first because I did go back and get a second. I got my first master's in psychology, wanted to be able to understand how to argue with people, how to understand where people come from, because conflict management is one of the biggest things you need to be able to have in government relations, because conflicts keep us in business. So I hate to say that, but it is true. While I was getting my master's in psychology, I started in banking. Really enjoyed banking because what I was doing was more relationship management. And I'm really good with people, enjoy talking to people, enjoy meeting people. So moved up in that world, managed a branch for First National Bank, got into commercial lending. First National Bank got bought out by United Community Bank. Then after that, moved over to Tennessee State Bank, became vice president of that bank, ran the Knoxville region. Really had a great time there, and then 2018, of course, hits, Glenn gets elected, and I'm named chief of staff. The parts that I'm skipping are whenever I was a branch manager with First National, what I had to do is I had to go out, knock on doors, meet people that were in the business world, and really sell myself. Because there's banks on every corner. You pass, the First Nationals, the Tennessee States, the AmSouths, the regions of the world, they all come and go. Names always change, but there's always a bank building. People change too. Banks have a revolving door. Bankers come, bankers go. So you have to really build a good relationship on trust. So my big thing was I wanted to go out and meet people face to face, get to know them, see what their needs were, and most of all, welcome them to the community. Back in 2013, there was a little strip mall over on Middlebrook Pike across the street from Food City. Insurance agent goes in. I thought, well, I'll go down the hill and introduce myself, get to know this lady, no big deal. I go down and have a 45-minute conversation with this lady because she's a little long-winded, but very nice, very, very sweet. And at the end of the conversation, I said, is there anything at all I can do for you? And she said, yes, there actually is. We started a scratch agency. And I said, what's a scratch agency? Never heard that before. And she said, we started with no clients, no book, no existing customers. So everything we do is from scratch. I said, oh, like biscuits. And she said, yeah, like biscuits. So anyways, she said, send me some customers. If you have somebody coming in complaining about a rate, send them down the hill, I'll talk to them. As luck would have it, bad luck for one of my customers, good luck for me, I go back to the office and there's an elderly lady standing at our teller line, and she's explaining to one of our tellers why her account's in the negative, and that was because her insurance premium had increased and she did not have enough money in her account to cover it. So I went over and said, hey, we'll help you out with this, but in the meantime, you should really go talk to this lady down the hill. She's really sweet, I think she can help you out, see what can happen. She goes down the hill, takes out half a dozen policies, I don't know what all she took out, but became a customer of this lady's insurance agency that I had just met 20 minutes prior. Well, the next day changed my life forever. I'm sitting at my desk, and lo and behold, I look up and I see this mountain of a man walking through the front door of my office. And I told my boss, I said, hey, I've got a vendor that's walking in, because we would have people come by and try and sell us stuff all the time. I said, Randy, I've had a vendor come in, he's carrying donuts and coffee, let me go deal with this, I'll call you right back. I go to walk across the lobby, and I'm raising my head up towards this man, and he said, I'm looking for Bryan. I said, unfortunately, we fired that guy yesterday. He said, are you serious? I said, no, I'm Bryan, and I know who you are. I've been watching you since I was a kid. And his response was, I'm not that old, which I didn't mean to date it, but kind of is. But anyways, we'll deal with that later. So that was Glenn Jacobs. His wife was the insurance agent that I had met down the hill. Had no clue. You have no clue who you're going to be talking to on a daily basis, but the relationships that you make can be profound, but you won't know that until later on down the road. So Glenn and I built a really good friendship, had a really good rapport. We started going to lunch whenever he was in town between WWE stints, and started to really realize that we had a lot in common as far as our approach to government, to politics, to business, which is a rarity amongst conservatives nowadays. So time kept moving forward, and we were at Glenn's company Christmas party in 2014. We had kind of been talking about some different ideas, and he pulls me off to the side and says, can I ask you a question? Kind of a crazy question. Sure, what you got? How would you feel if I told you I wanted to run for county mayor in 2018? Without hesitation, I looked back and I said, I would want to be your campaign manager. And he said, let's do it. So we sat that conversation to the side for probably 2 years, came back in 16, started working on our strategy, putting our plan together. In 2017, we launched over at Sweet Peas Barbecue on Maryville Pike. Probably had 150 people standing out there in the hot sun, as we're all accustomed to here. And that was just the beginning. What we did from that point on was literally life-changing for me and my family. We knocked on doors 4 to 5 days a week, a year before the election, really setting the tone for a good ground game. As the campaign got deeper and deeper, as we moved towards May 1st of 2018, we were knocking doors 6 days a week. And over the course of our campaign, we knocked on over 50,000 doors, which is unheard of in a local race. But Glenn's biggest thing was we were not going to go on TV. We were going to do minimal radio, which we advertised on Christian radio, and then a little bit with sports talk. And then we wanted to have a strong ground game and a strong mail campaign. We wanted to take our message directly to the voters, because one thing that I got asked in an interview one time was, what's it like running a celebrities campaign? And that's actually kind of fun, because most candidates have to go out and sell people that they are the person they've seen on TV, whereas my job is I get to show the community that Glenn is not the guy they've seen on TV, which was a 7-foot monster that threw people around. So, as Justin's already mentioned, throughout the course of the campaign, I think that there were 2, sometimes maybe 1, of us that thought we were actually going to win the campaign, and that was Glenn and myself. And that's because we believed in what he wanted to do, we believed in changing Knox County, and we believed in bringing more fiscal conservatism with an eye of growth to the community, which is exactly what we needed. So that's a little bit about the campaign and me leading up to that. As we started to get closer to taking office, people start pulling on your shirt sleeves, pulling on your coattail. Hey, let me tell you about this. Let me tell you what you need to know. You know, ironically, these people were nowhere to be found for the previous 16 to 24 months. But now they've got all these grandiose ideas that they want to tell us what we need to be aware of going into government. We didn't kiss any rings to get into office, and we're definitely not going to kiss any while we're there. The only people that we were in debt to for the mayor being elected was the actual citizens of Knox County, not special interest groups. But it really started to bother me, because the deeper we got into transition, moving from campaign mode to government mode, these conversations started being more prevalent. Some people were saying, you don't realize the world you're getting into. It's dirty, it's awful, it's corrupt. I brushed it off. Yeah, whatever. This is Knox County. Where's corruption going to be at? Where are all these strange players going to hide at? Let me tell you where they hide. There's a lot of them in the city county building. There's a lot of them that are elected officials. a lot of them that own and operate businesses in the area, there's people that do and say things that I've met multiple times that I'd be embarrassed. But we're not gonna do it. We didn't get elected by stooping. We didn't get elected by doing anything wrong. We wanna do things right. The one thing that I also keep getting told is this: if you all want to get reelected, you need to do this. I can tell you right now, Mayor Glenn Jacobs is not concerned about reelection. Mayor Glenn Jacobs is concerned about doing the right thing today. And that's what we need more of. How many of you all live in the city? City residents. Are you registered to vote in the city?
Yes.
Did you vote in this past election?
Yes.
Thank you. What's sad to me is this: politics is a dirty business, government's a dirty business, but it's only that way because good people don't want to get involved. What we have to do with our generation, 40 and under crowd, we've got to be more actively involved in the process. The issue is not that there's no longer good people to run. I looked at somebody one time and we were talking about Congress, and then we started talking about the state legislature and county commission. And I just asked a simple question: is this really the best that we have to offer at the federal, state, and local level? And this guy looks back and said, no, it's just the best of what will run. That drove a stake in my heart, because I have seen good people run for office and I've seen good people win. But the literal hell that you have to walk through to get there scares a lot of people out of taking that first step to run. Anybody that signs their name on a petition and runs for office has my 100% respect. Because what you're doing is you're not just putting your name out there, you're putting your family's name out there. You're putting your friends out there. You're putting your career out there on the line for something that you feel convicted to do. And when good people are willing to take that step and run for office, we should rally around them. We should pray for them. We should volunteer for them, and we should do whatever it takes to push them across the finish line. We've got a very important race going on in the city right now, and people can say all they want to. That's a city race. That's not going to affect the county. Let me tell you this: what happens at the other end of the 6th floor of the city county building will affect Knox County more than you will ever imagine. We have to make sure that who wins that race is going to have an eye towards fiscal restraint. We have to make sure that whoever wins that race is going to be friendly to our building and development community, because people need to be able to move back into the city to do business. Right now, within the city limits, it has not been builder friendly. In fact, it's kind of the opposite. We've tried to cut back on red tape in the county, and the city keeps tightening their red tape. Nobody wants to do business there. People want to go to the county. There's two candidates, and I won't tell you who I'm supporting. I'll tell you after the meeting if you ask. But I think the choice is clear on what we need to do to support someone to go across the finish line that's going to be conservative, that's going to be good economically, and good for the region as well, because it can't just be about Knoxville. It can't just be about Knox County. Sure, we are the economic hub for East Tennessee, but we have to make sure that our surrounding counties are doing good as well. If Anderson County's doing good, people are going to be eating and shopping in Turkey Creek. If Campbell County's doing good, they're going to be coming down to Knoxville. If Loudoun County's doing good, they'll be coming into Farragut, which all feeds our tax base. And these are things that we have to keep our mind on. But I want to close with this, and I want to open up for questions, because I enjoy a conversation much more than I do sitting here rambling and talking, and my wife would likely agree with that. Each of you in this room have a very unique opportunity. You can be a part of changing the landscape of our community. And you're probably sitting there right now saying, yeah, right. There's no chance of that. Nobody knows who I am. Guess what? Nobody knows who I am either. I have the coolest job in Knox County. I am the chief of staff for Knox County government and have 2,500 employees that directly report up to me. I get to go to work every day and sit 20 feet away from probably the coolest mayor that's ever been elected. I get to work with a staff that is driven, that loves our community, that wants to see things change and change for the good. I heard some of you all talking about change at the beginning of the meeting tonight. There's three types of change. There's change for the sake of change. There's bad change and there's good change. Good change is what we need in Knox County right now, and that starts with the people in this room. So don't let somebody tell you that you're too young, or you don't know anybody, or you don't have the right connections. The only connection you need is between your head and your heart. Because deep down, if you believe that you can go out and make a difference, you will make a difference just when you take that first step. But if you allow people to get in your head and tell you that you're not going to change anything, things can't change, this is the status quo, it's been this way for years, good luck, then nothing will happen. But you have to be willing to take that fight personally. You have to be willing to put your name on the line, to put your reputation on the line, and to put your family's reputation on the line by standing up and doing what is right. Justin made mention in his introduction, and Justin, thank you for that. The biggest thing for me is not my title as chief of staff. The biggest thing for me is my title is daddy. I've got 2 children. I've got a son who is 7 years old, and I've got a daughter that just turned 4. Those 2 are my biggest constituents. Well, they're not old enough to vote. No, but the decisions that I make today, that the mayor makes today, the county commission makes today, that the school board makes today, will have a long-lasting impact on the community that they get to grow up in. And I take that very, very seriously. When we were out on the campaign over the course of 16 months, I dare say there were 5 days that I knocked on doors that I didn't drag my son along with me. I want my son to know the work that it takes to put into something you believe in and then to win. I just wish our UT football team felt the same way. But all that to say, if you believe in something and you set your mind to it, things will change. You've got to believe in yourself, even if you and the candidate you're working for are the only ones who believe it's going to happen. You've got to start somewhere. And that's what Glenn and I did. So that's enough of me rambling. You guys, ask me.